Hey, you crazy guys. Thanks for coming back and listening to the podcast. If you are listening to this for the first time, welcome to the Scott Bribble Podcast. What's this podcast about? It's about people and things that interest me. And it could be somebody that you've never heard of. It could maybe, hopefully someday, it's somebody you have heard of. But I just like to sit down and have face-to-face conversations with people, record those, and put them out. So hopefully you find it something that you enjoy. If so, feel free to subscribe. Leave me a comment, leave me a review, leave a good review, don't leave a bad review. And if you can't find this in the podcast service that you subscribe to, leave me a message somewhere or get a message to me somehow and say, hey, this is the podcast service I subscribe to. I will do the research and get this listed on there. Also, if there's somebody or something that you think that you would like to hear a conversation with, let me know. So what's coming up? Well, this Saturday, I'm sitting down with a guy named Corbin Payne. Corbin is an attorney out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He and I are going to meet in Madisonville, and we're going to do a podcast. He has a website called The Sous Chef. I think it's on Facebook also. And on there, it's basically just a blog of the funny things that he runs into as a defense attorney. He's also writing a book, so we're going to talk about that creative writing process that's going on there. Halloween's coming up, so I'm trying to do a schedule to bring Angela Wilson back. Angela Wilson was the druid that I had on a few episodes back. We're going to talk about Halloween and the significance in her faith and her religion and what all that entails. And then we're going to be sitting down with Dr. Sarah Philpott. Dr. Sarah Philpott just released a devotional for women experiencing pregnancy loss. I think it's a 31-day devotional. It's actually a book that I have gifted, and it's a book that I highly recommend. So you're going to want to tune in for that episode as well. You'll be able to find it, especially if you subscribe. It'll just pop up. It'll be there. Yesterday, I sat down with Lauren Griffeth Trew. Lauren Griffeth Trew and I went to high school together. Hadn't seen each other in over 30 years until this summer when she finally moved back to Athens. Her husband had retired. Her husband and daughters moved back. And we run into each other at Sounds of Summer. That's the local concert series that takes place down at the park. And we just got connected again, started talking, lots of hugs and a few laughs. And then the other day I just messaged her over Messenger and said, hey, let's sit down, let's chat. She's like, okay. So we did that. It was great catching up with her, and I hope this is something that you thoroughly enjoy. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe, tell your friends about it, and ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lauren Griffeth Trew.
Into the microphone.
I do.
I think that is your ploy.
I do have ploys.
Yeah.
So what I did wrong was I had it going off the laptop's microphone and not off this.
So it was perfectly loud enough.
It was. It's just
We just couldn't hear
I was
it.
using the wrong microphone. It wasn't
okay.
recording.
It's okay.
Lauren Griffeth Trew is on the podcast. It's been 30 years.
Just a minute.
It's what it feels like. You look great.
Thanks.
You
You
look
look
great.
great.
You
We're
aged
having our
well.
own mini 30-year reunion here.
Did you go?
I did not get to go because I was out of town.
Where were you?
And you were out of town.
I was out of town.
Yeah, I was in Nashville taking Scott to the airport. He had an early morning flight the next day.
Oh, got it. So you're just like,
Finally lived close enough that I could have gone and didn't get to make it.
Did you ever gone to any of them?
I think I went to our 10-year.
Well, you should know, or were you just that?
Well,
Was it that good of a
no,
reunion?
I just mean I have memory issues.
Time for some ginkgo biloba or whatever it is.
Apparently, yeah.
I do. Do you take any supplements?
I do not.
I take a not regularly. Well, I take vitamin D somewhat regularly.
Yeah, I should do that.
Yeah, I found out in the Northwest when I lived there that I needed to. I was on a therapist couch, and which I recommend therapy for anybody,
I
not
agree.
couples therapy.
I agree.
Do not do couples therapy. Don't recommend that one. But personal therapy, I think, is a great idea.
It is a great idea.
what was the thing about? So anyway,
Something about your supplements
yeah,
and the
and
Northwest.
and lack of sunshine, and so he says, "Go get your blood checked."
Yeah.
I do, and I'm critically low on vitamin D to the point they put me like on this emergency prescription dosage to get me back up to speed. And then a few months later, we end up in Arizona on a trip for Mother's Day weekend. And some stuff went on the night before. My kids asked their mom, "Hey, what's wrong with Dad?" She's like, "What do you mean?" "Well, if that would have happened in the Northwest, they'd have got mad." And she said, "This is your dad on Sunshine."
Dad on Sunshine was a little cooler, a little more fun.
Yeah.
Laid
Let's
back.
get that in front of you. I got to tell you all day.
Yes. I'm trying to get just right with
You wanna
the
move on?
sunshine and the table.
Right.
All right, here we go.
So
Now
we're
I
at the
think-
Beanery in downtown Athens. I got Lauren with me. We talked about doing this a while back. Not really, just over Messenger.
Just over Messenger.
No. So after high school, you go to UT,
I did.
and that's where you got your degrees, or
Got my degrees there in elementary education.
wow. And then when did you get married?
Then got married right out of college, early 1992. And then Scott and I just set off on a big adventure.
It was a big adventure.
Well, we kind of have been moving around ever since 1992.
So he
But,
finally retires.
yeah, he did. He retired in March, and we moved back to McMinn County.
Without letting me know.
Well,
Without letting anybody know.
I call it living underwater. Every time that we move, it feels like I'm living underwater. Like things are just happening around me. And then one day I come to the surface and I'm like, oh, yeah,
Oh,
I can interact with the world.
yeah. So because I had been told that you were back, and I was like, that old man's crazy. She's
He
not
doesn't know
back.
what he's talking about.
He didn't know what he's talking about. Well, he did actually.
He did.
And then I'm at Sounds of Summer, and your dad comes up to me, which I thought I recognized him, and he introduced himself
he
to
looks
me.
like me with a mustache.
And he starts talking to me. He says, "What's your name?" And I told him. So he tells me his name, and I'm looking at him real weird, like, as in Lauren's dad. And right as I'm about to say that, no, I think I actually said that.
I think you did. And
He points
walked up.
behind me, and I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Yep, that was fun.
So how long has he been playing music? Always, and I just never knew.
My
it?
dad, he's played different instruments while I was growing up. He used to play the guitar some, and he just likes to learn new things. And so the harmonica is his thing right now.
So
And he tags along with September songs sometimes.
where are they going to be at next? Do you know? Have no clue. No, I
Have
know
to check
that,
into that.
Mending Wall
Yeah.
is
He
going to
only
be.
does it every once in a while.
Well, Mending Wall is going to be in Cleveland this weekend, and I think Fresh Mind is going to be. Cleveland's having the Apple Festival,
Oh, okay.
so if you like apples. No, you're busy this weekend though.
I am very busy this weekend.
Tell the folks about
All
it.
right, it was something awesome. So this weekend, it actually starts. Today is Wednesday, right?
Correct.
It is. So
It
it,
is.
actually starts tomorrow on Thursday. There's a world premiere original production. at
World
the
premiere. I like
Arts.
how you do that.
Yeah, world premiere. But it's really, really cool, and it's just exciting. Jan Burleson has put it all together. She just collected letters and journal writings from people all over McMinn County, or even just people that are related to people from Athens or anywhere around McMinn County. And she compiled it into just this beautiful story of different letters that talk about family history. There's some letters from war written home by soldiers, love letters,
Aw.
just a lot of really exciting things that have been fun to watch it come together.
Now, Ann Hitchcock Boyd, she, I think she shared it on Facebook.
Did
when I originally
she?
saw
Yeah,
it.
there are 2 letters from her family, 2 stories from her family that are in it.
Yeah, I met her 2 years ago, shortly after I first got back to Athens. I started doing that 365 Things
Right,
video
yeah.
thing.
I watched it.
Did you?
When I didn't live in Athens. Now you need to do some more of them.
I
Now that
do.
I live here and I can find out what to do.
Well, you know what to do.
I
You're
know
out and
a lot
about
of what
doing
to do,
stuff.
yeah.
Well, and that's why I started. It was because everybody was like, "There's nothing to do in Athens."
There's tons of stuff to do in Athens.
There's a lot more than when
There
we
is.
left.
There is. Yep.
So, I mean, we can't go cruising anymore, but they banned that.
They did.
They did. But
I think that's okay.
I don't. I enjoyed it. Me and Steve Black and Ricky Seaton and all them, we used to go out there.
McDonald's.
McDonald's
One
parking lot.
loop after another.
Go around. Was that Kmart at the time?
That was Kmart.
That was Kmart. But she posted it, and I interviewed her for that Beth Salem reunion.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't even know that church existed. I didn't know the story behind that church. I didn't know anything about it. And somebody told me, and I thought, I got to know more. So,
Oh, cool.
yeah, and her family was one of the founding members of it. So, do you ever write letters?
I do.
Do you
I love
really?
I love to write letters, and I love to get letters.
Do you do cursive?
I think I do a mixture.
Okay.
Like I'll start in cursive, and then it turns into printing. Maybe then it goes back to cursive, but
Do you save copies of the letters?
I don't think I do.
I started doing that.
No. I save letters that I get, but I don't save copies of letters that I write.
Try doing that. It's a
That's-
great thing to archive.
Yeah. I mean, in all our moves, it's like I still have just boxes go with me. I'm like, oh, I can't throw that away.
Right.
Yeah.
I wished I had the letters I received when I was overseas. I know I kept them, and I had them for a few years, and they may be in my I Love Me box, but I don't know. I'll have to go check. But my mom kept all the letters that I wrote home. So
That's what I was going to ask, if your mom kept them. Yeah.
she kept the ones I wrote home.
Yeah. So in this play, there are several little segments of letters that soldiers have written home, and it's really special to hear, and to their mom and dad, or whether it was a girlfriend or wife.
Yeah. I learned something from that experience, going back and reading those letters, because it's almost 30 years removed, and stories that I had remembered in my head and I had told didn't happen. Or they didn't happen like I had remembered and told them. When I go back and I read the letter, and there's like one or two letters that I actually wrote about a couple of events that I've told all these years. And what I wrote in the letter is completely different
Then how you remember it?
than how I remember it. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
That's
That's our memory,
your memory lies to you.
It does.
It lies to you,
You
and
can remember things really vividly, but then talk to someone else that you're just sure was there, and maybe they were, but they have a different memory of it.
right. Well, that happened at the 25-year reunion.
Oh, yeah?
Not the high school,
Okay.
the Marine Corps unit.
Oh,
They all got together after
yeah.
25 years. And we're all sitting around, telling old war stories, I guess. And I'm like, no, I thought that was me that did that. Or no, that wasn't me.
That wasn't me. No, that wasn't me. What are you
Right.
talking about?
I mean, I wished it was me. It was a funny story, but
Yeah.
I don't remember it. And they're like, oh, yeah. My brother's the same way, though. He'll say, oh, you remember in high school when we blah, blah, blah. No, I have no memory of it.
My sister has an incredible memory, so I just kind of defer to her. I'm like, okay. believe you.
That's where we were going. I do the vitamin D.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we were talking about vitamin D.
I do the vitamin D to help me with the seasonal affective disorder. And now that the sun's going down sooner, I'm having to take it more often. B12, because I'm just everybody's low on B12, I think. And there's a supplement called Lion's Mane. It's a mushroom supplement, and it's supposed to help with cognitive brain memory, and things like that. And I've
Does
noticed
it-
a little bit of an enhancement, because when I first started taking it, where I worked, you'd come in and buy something, and I'd have to punch in these numbers. Not buy it, but you're getting it from the factory, and I have to punch in these numbers. Okay, what'd you get? And all this other stuff. So it gets billed to the right department. And I'd have to ask you 4 or 5 times, because you might be buying 4 or 5 items. I'd have to ask you again, okay, what's this, what's this, what's this? Then it got to where after I started taking this, I'm just remembering what you said. I'm not having to ask.
So it works.
Oh.
Lions, Maine. Is that what you called it?
MANE. It's the company. When they're not an advertiser here. Nobody is. The company's name is Host Defense.
Oh, I was like, are we not going to say the company's name?
That's not the one I work at. We're not. But Host Defense is the company that puts it out. Peter Shamus, he's a leading mushroomologist or whatever, fungiologist or whatever you call him. He's real big into psilocybin and magic mushrooms, which I've never tried yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So where all have you lived?
Because I have not lived on the West Coast. Is that why I don't know what you're talking about?
I don't know. You've never lived on the West Coast?
No. The furthest west we got to live was Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So when were you there?
When? See, you're going to ask me questions that require memory. We were there from December 2012 to March of 2016.
Okay, so you weren't there during the bombing.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
We lived in Georgia then.
Okay.
But then when we moved to Oklahoma, I met all these friends that had just really vivid memories of it because they were there then. And Scott worked closely with people that were in that building.
Right. It's crazy to think back that happened so long ago. I mean, we've been through a lot as a nation, and it's almost like people totally forget about the Oklahoma
Right.
City bombing.
Yeah.
And all the conspiracy. Could you imagine if that had happened today? I mean, I remember the conspiracy theories then, and we didn't have social media.
That's true. Yeah.
I couldn't imagine the conspiracy theories now.
Yeah.
I'm sure people still talk about it. How
So
many
that
girls?
was one of our stops. We have 2 girls. I guess they're adults, but they're still our girls.
Yeah. Yeah, I still call mine kids.
Yeah, they're my kids. Yeah.
And they're both in town? Emma's in town?
Emma is in town. She is at UTC, so she's here in town. And then Bess lives in Mississippi.
That's right, doing the ballet thing.
Yep.
Ah, see, I did remember something.
Yeah, you remembered. Your lion's mane is working. Yeah. She is with a professional Christian ballet company and lives in Mississippi.
So I don't remember much ballet here in McMinn County with us growing up. How did they get into ballet?
Well, they both started ballet when they were 3 when we lived in Maryland.
Uh-huh.
Let's see how many states I can work into this.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, we've almost hit all of them now. Not quite yet. They just, I don't know, it looked fun and they both wanted to start and they took ballet with their friends and we spent a lot of time at ballet studios.
That had to be fun.
It was so fun.
Had to
I
be fun.
loved it.
Well, every time you post something on Facebook, I'd be like, she is having the time of her life.
Yeah.
She being you.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Living
loved it.
vicariously or whatever.
Yep.
I guess that's the word.
I guess so, but I did. I loved that.
What was the favorite stage? Is it just watching them start out, or is it like all of a sudden now they're doing
with,
this?
with ballet.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, because when they're little, their tights are baggy around their ankles. So cute. And then they're like, oh, hey, now they can do steps. Oh, hey, now they remember a whole dance, and it's just, I still love watching them.
So Bess continued in it. Is Emma still doing it, or has she still got interest in it? I mean, what's
No, she'll tell you she retired.
She
when
retired.
She was 16.
okay?
Yeah.
Once she retires, just
Well, we actually moved.
no.
That was one of our moves. That was the move from Maryland to Oklahoma. And
So you were in
it's
Maryland for a
hard-
while.
It's hard to move when you're in high school.
I
In
never
the middle
did
of the
it.
year. Yeah, I mean, I didn't do it either.
Yeah.
I grew up here, and I didn't move until we
Got married.
got married.
Yeah.
Moved to Nashville, and then just kept going. But yeah, but it was, it was a good thing. She's got her own interests now.
So what's her interest?
So she is, she's a really talented photographer. I love to see her, just artistic eye with her photography. And she's doing a new thing and is in this play with me this weekend. So that's been super fun to share with
You're
her.
narrating and she's reading a letter, you said?
She's doing a letter from someone way back in the Trew family. 1886.
So how long has your family been here?
Well, this is Scott's family.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
That's okay. And really long time. Like
Were they part of the store?
they
that
are
everybody
part of the
talks
story.
about?
Yes, that's actually part of what I get to talk about. But like 1836 is when they bought the land that is still the farm now. And yeah, that store was run by his grandparents for a really long time.
They still own the store?
They do still own the store. It's not open right
No.
now, but it's a treasure. Yeah, I love that
I
store.
drive by it and I think, I wonder if you was to go in there, if you're just opening up a time capsule, if they've just left
It
stuff
is.
like.
There is some stuff still in there.
Wow, that's what they said Riddle and Wallace over here was like. They
when
said the old soda fountain
Yeah.
counter is still there. And I think somebody's bought it. No. Somebody bought the one next to it. Yeah, Becky hasn't sold Wallace, I think is her name. She's not sold that yet. I think she's waiting on a really big amount of money. Which I don't blame
Are
her.
you going to get it?
Yeah, I'll write a
Yeah.
check this
Okay,
afternoon.
Cool.
I'll need security.
Yeah,
Can you
I
walk
love
with?
those old. Yeah, I'm not the one to do that.
You love those what?
I just love those old buildings like that and the stories that come out of them. And I love to hear people tell stories about the store.
Oh, about the True Store?
The True Store.
See, and I don't know when it closed. I don't ever remember going there.
It closed in 96.
Did it really? Wow. I had no clue.
Which does not seem like that long ago, but
No, it's not that long ago. My son, well, it was 22 years ago. My son was born then, but
right, that's when Emma was born too.
Oh.
That's why I remembered it.
what month?
She's November.
Oh, he's April.
Okay.
He's April.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? My dad remembers going there, and he said you can get like, it's like I guess in the sense a true general store. Mm-hmm. You can get like handles and for your hose and all this other stuff. I'm like,
You
really?
can get all kinds of things, which actually is part of the story I get to tell in the play this weekend.
You wanna tell it now?
All kinds of things. Little preview. You can get hoop cheese and harness, guns and gingham, baloney, plows, all kinds of things.
Plows.
Plows, thrashing machines.
It's I guess I'm surprised in one sense because that road that it's on, I just call it Bowater Road.
That's all I ever call it too.
Right.
It probably has a number, but I
Or
can't
an
keep the
actual
number
name.
straight.
I can't
think
either.
it's just Bowater Road.
Let's just go with that.
That's what everybody knows it as.
There's so much traffic up and down through there. I can't believe there's not more commercial type businesses.
Right.
But I'm like you. I live out there off of, well, if you take Bowater Road, I think that's 750. Is that Landfill Road that runs into it?
I think so.
Well, if you're coming from True Store and you go up there to that four-way
Yeah,
intersection.
I think it has a 7 in it.
Yeah. Well, I live off one of those roads out through there.
Okay.
But I talked to these people that grew up. Well, I grew up here, but I grew up over here on next to, well, it's now Veterans Park. That's where I grew up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you grew up over there across from the hospital, right?
Right.
I don't know these county roads.
I don't know them either. I'm like, you turn left by this landmark. Like, I don't know any of the numbers.
Well, it was funny. My son moved down here for like 3 or 4 months when I first moved down. And Mom was trying to tell him how to get someplace. And she says, well, you know where that church is? He goes, Mama, do you know how many churches there are in this county?
Be more specific.
You know how many churches are on that road?
I need very specific landmarks.
Well-
That's how I give directions and how I best take them.
That or an address. Give me an
So
address.
that I can put it in my phone?
Right.
Okay.
Right, because I came down here when Rob Fair got married. I flew down to do the wedding for him and Kim.
Yep.
And I was staying at Steve Black's house. Well, between my time in Knoxville, I was hanging out at Steve Black's house. And I finally decided after being in town 2 or 3 days, I should probably go see my brother. Right? Might be the not-so-jerky thing to do. Go see your brother. So I call him up. I'm like, dude, I want to come by and visit. What's your address? Oh, he starts giving me directions. Well, you go down, blah, blah. No, I just want your address. So he starts giving me landmarks. I just want your address.
Just give me your address.
Right. So he finally got it. I plugged it in. I got there. But I can't believe you don't know where I live. Well, I haven't been here for 15 years, dummy.
Right.
Why would I remember
Had
where
he
you
moved?
No.
No. He just forgot. Well, when we would come back and visit, I would always have to sit for a minute in the car and think, wait, which way do I turn to go up to Depot Hill?
And it's not that big a town.
But I would forget.
Yeah. Well, when I was over in Etowah, I was talking to the guy over there at the chamber. Etowah is the only planned city in McMinn County.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Athens wasn't planned. That's why you got all these roads that there's not a it's not like a grid. Like in most major
Right.
metropolitan cities, there's a block and
Oh,
grid.
that's my favorite. That was the best part of Tulsa. Everything was just all a grid, and the streets were alphabetical,
Right.
so you knew where you were going.
Right. You knew if you were going north or south because this road only went north or south.
Right, yeah.
You knew if you're going east or west.
Yep.
Not here in Athens.
So it just kind of grew up.
It just kind of grew up, and obviously they planned the square. I mean,
Yeah.
where we're at right now.
Yeah.
But after that, I mean, you look at the other roads. I mean, you get off the square, and it's. I guess they were chasing a snake with a bulldozer.
Now I'm going to have to pay attention to that. But was Etowah planned because of the
The depot.
depot? Mm-hmm. So that's
Yeah. So, and the depot wasn't originally planned to go there. Maybe I should bring Durant on. We can talk about a lot of this. They looked at wanting to take it to Inglewood, but the textile mills there didn't want to compete for jobs.
Oh, okay.
So Inglewood was like, no, you can't come in here. Which Inglewood's its own sort of mess. I don't know if you've noticed that. But so then they looked down closer to the Hiwassee, and that guy wanted too much money for the land. So they settled on Etowah, and Etowah, that was a swamp right there where they were at. You want to move?
Oh, it was? Nope, I'm good. I'm just going to, it's moving.
Slowly?
The sun is slowly moving. I'm just really happy to see sunshine, so this is okay.
Right. So that was a swamp there, so the railroad had to come in and drain that swamp, and then within 2 years, that set of buildings, those 2 or 3 blocks right across from the depot, were built. So that's how old they are. And that's why it's a catch-22. Everybody wants to preserve them, back to what you were saying about the
Right.
love of old buildings.
Right.
But the amount of money and cost it is to preserve them is unreal. Because
is.
now you got environmental hazards that we didn't think of when those were built. Things like asbestos.
I was just going to say, are we talking about asbestos? Yeah.
There could be that. There could be
Lead paint.
lead paint. There's definitely lead paint. And so on one hand, you're like, well, let's just tear them down and build. Because there's a lot of traffic on 411.
There is, yeah.
But there's hardly no businesses there. So I don't know.
Oh, well.
So, let's see. Maryland, Georgia, Oklahoma,
Alabama.
Alabama.
We did almost 2 years in Alabama when the girls were in elementary school.
Yeah.
I loved it. I loved every place.
Did you really?
I did. Anytime people ask me which was my favorite one, I can't pick a favorite because the moving part is hard. It's hard to say goodbye to
Right.
the friends that you have where you are, and then just the unfamiliarity of new towns and all that. But I would fall in love with the people and each place.
So you move to a new place. What's the first thing you do to maybe start settling in, to meet people, to get involved?
So, well, when the girls were little, it was a lot easier because the first thing is you find their school and you meet the other moms in the carpool line or at the bus stop and that kind of stuff. And then as they grew up, one of the first things that I would do is find, have you ever heard of Bible Study Fellowship? It's called BSF.
I have not.
You have not. Well, it's an international Bible study, and so they're everywhere, and that would be, I would seek out that class and go to those classes
So-
each time we would move.
That's a great idea because now you found something you got in common.
Right.
And so is this like a subscription type thing where they're mailing you these Bible studies and you guys just get together and meet?
You go to
Or
it. You go to a class, and
is it a denominational thing?
it's not. It's non-denominational, and they just meet. They have classes. They have day classes for women, and you can bring your preschool children. So that's when I started going when the girls were little. And then they have night classes for women and men. They
Okay.
are, and then you do the study on your own, like they provide it for you, and then so you do that personal study during the week, and then you come together and have a group discussion time, and then a lecture from your teaching leader each week.
A lecture,
Mm-hmm.
aka a sermon.
Well, we always called it a lecture,
A lecture.
because they're not ordained or anything like that. They're just
Oh,
teachers.
I enjoyed. I that's one thing I do miss about being in the ministry was the teaching.
Yeah,
I miss that, but
yeah.
I'm getting over it.
I always enjoyed working with the children's program for BSF. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Well,
I
that's-
love those
well,
little ones.
as an elementary, kindergarten school teacher, I mean, you've just got a love for little kids.
Little ones.
Well, that's cool. I was always involved with the nursery while my kids were in the nursery. So the preschool programs when my kids were
Right.
in there, I was involved. When my kids were out, I got out.
You felt like you graduated from that stage.
We graduated
Yeah.
together. That was me.
You just keep moving up.
And I plan to do that because I'm getting to the age where I could be having potentially grandchildren at some
Right.
point.
Yeah, we could.
My plan is if there's a woman in the room, they can change the diaper. Isn't that sexist of me?
That is super sexist of you.
Well, but most women I know when they're around a baby, oh, I'll change it. They want to go in and do stuff like that. Me, I'm like, hey, it's my grandkid. I'll do it unless I have another option. If I have another option,
If you have another option.
Here you go.
There you go.
be grandma. Be great grandma.
Oh,
Yeah, no, that is sexist
yeah.
of me. But
It is.
did you ever listen to Joe Rogan?
I don't.
He's got a funny bit about he found out that he was a sexist.
How he discovered it.
Yeah, but he's sexist toward men.
Oh,
And he
okay.
said, like, when the Harvey Weinstein thing came out, it just talks about how horrible this guy is. He said, but if I'd have read about this story about Helvina Weinstein and some guy was wanting to get a role as Batman, I'd be like, dude, you're going to be Batman. He said, I wouldn't care as much. He said, but when it's a man with a woman, it bothers me. But if it's just a woman... But it's a funny bit he does. He does it, well, it's obviously it's his bit. He does it a lot better than me. But, message Craig.
You did?
I did.
Is he going to call in?
No. He said he's not feeling well. I told him to rub some dirt on it. But, no, I did tell him. I didn't tell him who was going to be on
You
there.
didn't tell him?
No. I told him, I said, look.
I was thinking about that this morning. I was like, I wonder if we're going to get to talk to him. It's going to feel like the back of the van on those forensics trips.
Right. What I was going to do was I messaged him and said, look, I'm doing a podcast on Wednesday. I got a friend from our past going to be on there. And I want to call you and play This Is Your Life and see how long
Oh,
it
you were
takes
going
you
to make him guess.
see how long it takes you to guess who it is. He's like, that sounds actually really, really fun.
It does.
But he didn't want to. Did your girls get involved in theater in high school or?
I'm trying to think. Well, they did in middle school. When we were at the middle school in Maryland, they always did a big play.
Okay.
And they were in it, and Bess enjoyed it a little bit more than Emma did, but
My daughter
not in high
didn't.
school. She didn't. But your son did.
My
I remember
son
those
did.
pictures and videos, and it was like a super flashback.
He
Yeah.
thoroughly loved it.
Does he
and-
still do anything?
Well, he did community theater after high school, and he loved that. But right now, he's working and studying at a trade school.
Okay.
So he's
Yeah.
not doing anything like that
Yeah.
right now. And when we first moved down here, he didn't know how long he was going to stay. So we went to the art center and he checked it out. And they didn't have an audition coming up right away. But I wished he would.
Yeah.
And
it's so fun.
I've told him, I used to do extras only.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the guys listening, if you're in a major metropolitan area, you can sign up to extrasonly.com. There's a free version and a paid version. And they look for extras that's going to be in TV shows or movies. And so I did that. That's how I got on Grimm. That's how I got on Leverage.
But I tried to get Levi to sign up for it because there's a lot of stuff being filmed in Portland. Lots of stuff being filmed in Portland. And there's always Portlandia.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that show?
No. Apparently, I don't listen to anything or watch anything.
Well,
Was Grimm filmed in Portland?
it was
Is that how
filmed
you
in
got on that
Portland.
one? Okay.
It was filmed in Portland. They're doing a spin-off of it now, but it was filmed in Portland. And the great thing about it being filmed in Portland is it was based in Portland. It was about Portland,
okay.
Oregon. So, unlike Leverage, was filmed in Portland, but it was some East Coast town, I guess Boston or someplace like that. So
They made it work.
they do that a lot, and I didn't do any movies that were there. There was one TV show that I did get requested to be on, Librarians or something like that, but they wanted a week-long commitment.
So were these usually just days that you would do
Yeah.
for a show?
Yeah, so like I was unemployed or they had something going on the weekend or maybe it was a show coming up and I thought, I'm going to take vacation and go do the show.
Yeah. It sounds so fun.
Well, you don't make any money.
But still, it's fun.
Well, yeah,
right?
for a theater geek.
Yeah, for people like us.
Yeah, it was so fun. And I get down there and these people would be complaining because you stand around a lot. You know, you're going to be
Yeah.
there for 8, 10 to 12 hours
Yeah.
and you're
But you know what
standing
you're
around.
getting yourself into.
Well, yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did.
I guess they thought they're getting themselves into going to be on camera, going to meet all these famous people. No, you sit over here with the extras. Mm-hmm. Craft services is over here at this time. You sit over here with the not stars.
Yeah.
You know?
Did they feed you, though?
Oh, yeah.
They did.
Craft services was really, really good. I enjoyed craft services on Grimm much more than Leverage. They had a much better selection of food. Leverage was filmed inside, so I enjoyed that. But Grimm was usually filmed outside at night because of the
topic.
the topic or whatever, right? And I was always a Portland cop, so I always got to be able to dress warm.
Fun. Mhm.
Well, the most fun I had on that show was I used to always want to be a stuntman. That
I
Hooper.
could see that.
Yeah, I loved it. That that movie Hooper with Burt Reynolds came out, where he's a Hollywood stuntman in it, and ever since then I want to be a Hollywood stuntman. Well, this one night I'm filming Grimm, they're putting me in this Portland police car, and I actually have to pull up like 25 feet with my lights flashing, but I got to wait for the stunt to happen, and the stunt is this guy jumping off the top of a building. So I'm just geeking out. I'm getting to watch this guy jump off the top of this building. He did like 3 jumps, and they're filming it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, he's got a cable, so it's slowing him down before he hits. And I'm just like, oh my God.
This is so cool.
I know, and I'm sitting there in this Portland police car just watching this. I'm like, yes, this is so cool. Well, then it comes time for me to do my little drive. And then, so basically, the guy jumps, he face plants on the road in the scene. He face plants on the road, he's dead, and 3 Portland police cars pull up, and we jump out, and we just go look over the body, and it's a shot from above, so you can't tell who I am or nothing. But anyways, I'm pulling up, and I'm totally going, whoa, 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 because they won't let me run the siren.
You're doing your own sound effects.
I did, and I'm like, well,
Well, I mean, it helped you get in character.
I got to drive a cop car.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Scott was a police officer in Nashville when we first got married, and I did a ride along with him once. It was so fun.
Did you get to go high speed?
Well, we didn't really get to go high speed, but one of our favorite stories to tell is how, like, he got a call to go somewhere, and I think it wasn't an emergency situation, and so he didn't have to go fast or turn on the lights, but I'm like, turn on the lights, get the siren, we gotta get there. He's like, we don't have to be the first car on the scene. I'm like, no, yes we do. It was a lot of fun.
He let you ride up front, not in back, right?
I did get to ride up front. yeah.
Okay, because that back seat is not comfortable.
How do you know about the back seat?
I've been in it
Okay,
twice.
well, thankfully, I don't know about the back seat.
Right? They're really, really hard, and you got your hands behind you, and it's really close and tight. It's just, I'd recommend staying out of it.
All right. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, just for future reference. If
I
you're ever
appreciate
thinking,
that.
hey, what's a bucket list thing I need?
Yeah,
Don't
that's
put that
not
on there.
it.
No. That's
Not one of them. No, but that was a fun experience.
How long was he a police officer?
He was a police officer for 2 years in Nashville.
So did he get like a criminal justice degree or?
Oh my gosh, you're really testing my memory. His degree is in political science.
How long you been married?
26 years. I should know these things.
There's small details about my husband I might need to know.
Political science, criminal justice.
26 years.
Yeah, almost 27. It is October, isn't it?
It is. It is. Mine would have been 27
This year?
this month.
Oh, this month.
Wow.
Yeah, ours is January, so it'll be 27 in January.
Where'd you get married?
St. Paul's Church, right around the corner.
Right over here?
Right over there.
The little white one?
Yep, the little white one.
Isn't that a cute little church?
I love it. Yeah.
Michelle Searcy took me in there once.
Yeah.
We were in high school. And I'd said something about it, and I think she attended there.
She did.
And she's like, come on in. So
Yeah.
I'm like, you can just walk in? I guess at that time they didn't lock the door. It was like a Tuesday night.
And
or
you just went in.
Just went in and just sat there in the chapel, and I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
So,
But
just a few years ago.
you still attending there?
No.
Okay,
Not
okay.
since we moved back. We're still getting settled in. Finding
You
out
got
where
back
to
in
be.
March.
I know.
Wait, but you just bought a house.
Remember, it takes me a while.
You're still underwater.
I think I'm coming out of it. Yeah. But we just bought a house, yeah. So we just now are still settling.
So where's your house?
Off a county road that I don't know the number of. I just know you turn near the old drive-in.
Okay, okay. If you're heading to Etowah, do you take a left or right?
You take a left.
And you turn up over that road that curves around?
Yes.
Angela
Okay.
McNabb owns a house right at the top of that hill.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
She's getting it remodeled because that goes to the back side of the drive-in and the airport.
Right.
Yeah. That's where that's at. So, and you bought that, you just moved in, last week? Week
Yeah,
before
like
last?
2 weeks ago.
Yeah. So you're probably still unpacking boxes.
There are still some boxes, yes. Yes.
So how'd you get this gig as the program director?
Program coordinator.
Coordinator.
Yeah. It's really just been a sweet thing to get back involved with the Arts Center. It started with the play that we did in August, To Kill a Mockingbird. And then,
I know, I wanted to go to that.
You should have come.
I should have.
Yeah.
I wanted to take Mom, but she didn't want to get out and about. And
Yeah. It was special to get to be part of that. It's been fun to get back involved with the community theater. And then it was just the right timing, and I was able to join them and work in their programs department.
so I know you said you're on a learning curve. Mm-hmm. What is program coordinator do?
Well, we have.
What's your day look like?
What does my day look like? Well, first, I come and do a podcast at the Beanery. There's a whole lot of programs that are offered there, just things for children and adults, seasonal classes of watercolor and pottery, and then we have special events like Arts on the Side, which is, I think it's the second Tuesday of every month. See, look at me trying to remember. I'm looking at a calendar in my head. But just things where people will come in, like artists will come in and give talks, or we can do activities with them even. Or most recent one we had was Westland's Choir came and sang, and just
Well, I know they got the Black Box Theater
and
thing
the
that
Black
goes
Box is there. Yep, we have plays in there, and then concerts come there. People will come in from out of town.
on. Well, they have pretty. I stopped in there and did a 365 once. I just
you did?
stopped in. Yeah, I tried to message them, then I stopped in. They're kind of like, well, "You're who? You're what? Okay."
Yeah.
I wish you'd have been there.
We can come back and do another one. And I can
we'll
take
do
you on
that.
a tour because we have exhibits for local artists. I mean, there is always something going on.
Well, and there's a cute
Yeah.
little gift shop in there.
Yep, there is, and those are all local artists.
And it's free to walk in and
Art
see
market.
the art gallery.
Yep.
It's free to walk in and buy and shop at
Yep,
the,
at the
market.
art market.
Somebody was asking me on Facebook. Didn't ask me. Somebody on Facebook the other day wanted to know where they could take painting classes.
That is a place you can take painting classes.
And you can here at the Beanery.
Right? Okay.
I did one here.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
I did. I thought she had it. Not mine. I thought she had one of the paintings on the wall that I did. It was so funny. Chris, I I'm either the only guy or the only straight guy that shows up at these painting classes for, at coffee shops or wineries. It's just the way it works.
But it's fun to learn new things. Like, I've done that with our workshops and stuff. I'm like, I want to take this. I have never done watercolor before, or figure drawing, or
See,
ink
and I was wanting to
drawing.
do those, and
Yeah.
then they shifted my work schedule, and I had to bail out of doing the. I signed up for the watercolor because I want to try this,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
and this was last fall or winter. And I signed up for the figure drawing because that's one of the things I'm very poor at. Although I do okay at painting.
Right.
When I'm trying to paint a face, I just get in symmetry, and I'm very poor at that. And I found out instead of going to an art school, one cheap way to do it on a time that fits my schedule is find these little painting classes.
Right, yeah. And we have workshops that, like, you don't have to commit for weeks at a time. You could just come
Right. And
one night or something.
and that's one of the things I found there, and it's just it's a golden resource here in town that not a lot of people know about. And it blows me away. It's like I talked to somebody the other day. I went to the museum, and I was telling them about going down here to the Living Heritage Museum, and the guy was asking me, "Where's it at?" How do you not know where the Living Heritage Museum
I
is?
know. I know. It's like a treasure.
Right.
Yeah, and so when we would come visit and there would be plays going on or a concert, I always loved it because we could go to them here. And I just think it's really cool that Athens can offer these kinds of opportunities and experiences for people.
And
To
it's
either be
not
part of
expensive.
It is not expensive. No. Mm-mm.
No,
And
I mean now if you're
we've-
going to get like season tickets to the Black Box Theater, which is probably well worth the price.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, that might be expensive, but
But it's still not, and it's just, and it's quality. It's talented people.
well,
You
I
know, we
think
have
Sounds
talent
of
in our
Summer, we've
community.
gotten some people
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
Tim's gone up there, heard some bands and some musicians come in. He's like, "Hey, I want them down at Sounds of Summer."
I just think it's awesome that Athens can bring that kind of talent in, and that there's local talent too.
Right.
You know, that we have that opportunity.
Well, I was surprised at that when I moved back here.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of local talent that was here, and the amount of free concerts
Yeah.
that are around this area.
Don't miss out. Go to them.
Well, the Cuban restaurant across from the Living Heritage Museum, they have a concerts every Friday night. They're Angela's.
I was going to say, can we say the name?
Yeah, I'll
'Cause
say their
it's
name.
delicious.
I love the. I tell you what's really good is the tres leches.
Haven't had that.
It's it means 3 milks.
Okay.
For somebody I don't know, it's a cake. I want to say it's. I don't know. I guess tres leches is Mexican or Spanish, or so it's from that region, but it's sitting in milk, right? It is so good, and they make it there,
Oh, yeah.
right? So
Yeah,
that's a big
everything
thing for
is
me.
good there.
Well, I always ask that when I'm in there. Do you have desserts? Mm-hmm. And do you make them? Now, if you bought them, I can go buy a key lime pie. You know, I want to know what you made.
Can you make your own key lime pie?
I've never tried,
Me either.
so you don't know if you can make one.
I probably can't.
Why are you so negative?
Well, I just got called out for negative talk. Because baking is probably not one of my gifts. It's not.
See, and I'm not a baker.
I'm not a baker either.
Now I can make
Maybe
a.
chocolate chip cookies,
I can do pecan pie. I do that.
chocolate chip pecan pie.
I did butterscotch. I put a layer of butterscotch chips, then put my pecan filling on top of it, and then bake it. Unless I do a bourbon pecan pie.
Also a good choice.
Yeah. The trick to that, someone who loves bourbon, you think put a lot in there. Don't.
Probably not.
Don't. I mean, you're not getting any alcohol because you're baking it off, but the flavor's too strong. So don't put a lot in there. It just, and that was the trick that I had. You ever had a vinegar pie?
No.
You should try that. I used apple cider vinegar and made this vinegar pie and took it to a Thanksgiving that I was going to in the Northwest, and I wouldn't tell anybody what it was because I was afraid that I'll be like, whoa.
Yeah, people would walk away from
Well,
it.
I'm trying to vinegar pie. Oh, I hit that. It tastes like a meringue.
Oh, now that would be good.
Tastes like a lemon meringue. Well, I guess the meringue is the whipped topping.
That's the whipped topping.
right.
And that if it has a little bit of brown on top,
It's perfect.
it's perfect. That's what my Aunt Bessie used to make.
Aunt Bessie.
Aunt Bessie.
But it's like the lemon pie. So used to in the South, because you couldn't get lemons,
Right?
they would do that. That's where I was going with the museum. The museum up here is $5. You know,
We were talking about the museum.
I was, and I was amazed at the amount of people who've never been to it.
I know, it's a great museum.
It is. They just opened the Battle of Athens exhibit.
I saw that in the paper last night.
You get the paper?
Sometimes I pick it up. I don't have a subscription,
Okay, I don't either.
but they sell it at stores.
Sometimes I'll get it. Very few. But I don't know what the local paper is going to do. Local paper as far as nationally.
Right.
I hate to see them go because I do think they're very vital and important. But
Right.
I also get people's got their phones.
We pretty much have access to news all the time.
Right. So then you think, well, what could the local paper do? I don't know.
I don't know, but it's fun to read it.
It is. Do you ever play any of the games in there, like crosswords
No.
or? I never could get into crosswords.
Me either.
And I don't read obituaries unless I write them.
I loved the one you wrote for your dad.
Do you like that?
It was very you, but
Oh.
it was a good story about him.
I was worried.
No, I loved it.
I was worried that my aunts would not appreciate it, but they did.
They did.
So I was worried about that. But back to the art center and everything to do around here. Like you said, it's not that expensive.
It's not, and there's just a lot of opportunities.
It is, and I always tell people the reason you think there's nothing to do is because you don't get out and do anything. You go to work, you go to the store, you go home, and you sit in front of a TV and think, I wish I had something to do as you're changing the remote.
But there are things out there to
Right.
do.
Even if you just want to do free things, the Hiawassee, I forgot it's the forestry center or whatever it's called down there at the Hiawassee has picking in the park, and they invite these musicians to come in down there on the
Yeah.
Hiawassee River and just play music, and they'll do these interpretive walks where you get to walk with a park ranger and go through the trails. That's all free. I mean, you're paying for it, but through your tax dollars.
Right.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah. I haven't done that.
I haven't either. Not yet. I only got a few days free, and then when I have them, I'm usually busy doing farm work. You glad to be off the farm?
Well,
Or are you off the farm?
we are not living on the farm, but we still can participate in farm life.
Go chase cows.
I do have a good fun cow chasing story, or cow getting back in the fence story, but other people are also more skilled at that than I am.
Well,
I like to take pictures of them.
That's right. Little baby calves.
Oh yeah, the babies are so sweet.
I got 14 on the way.
You do.
Well,
I love the little ones.
they do.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess they're not yours. You're not doing
Mace
that.
has 14 on the way. He's our bull. Yeah, I don't have that much land, and so we're gonna have to wean them fairly quickly and get them sold before they start eating grain and grass because they'll destroy us.
This grass is not for you.
No,
It's not enough.
there's not going to be enough for them. And but we got enough hay to get through the winter. Got enough grain. I wanted to get some grain sometime here in a little bit, but I'm learning a lot,
Good.
and I purposely
It's always good to learn
didn't
things.
learn when I first moved back because it was Dad's thing. I didn't want to take it from him.
Yeah.
Now it's my thing. So, what are you learning new?
I'm learning a lot of new things.
Yeah.
Well, I told you I'm learning new things at the art center.
Right.
Just about different, because performing arts was always my thing, and I was just in awe of people that had that visual artistic talent. I'm like, oh, you're so talented at that, painting or sculpture or all that kind of stuff. So it's fun to just learn about the supplies that you need for that and how things come together.
That would be fun. And I need to get up there and hopefully I can get my life changed around a little bit and go up there and take some of those classes. Pottery was something I've always
And
been
be in
interested
a play.
And be in a play. What's the new one coming
And
up?
to be in a play.
To be in a play.
Well, the next auditions are in a couple of weeks. Second weekend in November, Legally Blonde.
I saw that on the wall over here.
Wait. Yeah, it's right behind me, isn't it?
What's this about?
What's Legally Blonde about? Well, it's the stage version of the movie that Reese Witherspoon was in.
Okay.
Yeah. Elle Woods goes to Harvard.
Uh-huh. I don't think I ever saw it.
You should be in a play.
I should be in a play. I should watch more
That
Reese.
has been really fun to get to be involved in the community theater again.
Did you do it when you were on your world adventures?
So while we were on our world adventures, we didn't have community theaters that we were involved in, but we would do things at church.
Uh-huh.
Like we had a little backyard Sunday school in the summer
Right.
in Alabama, and it was really fun. Scott and I both did that,
Yeah, those were fun.
and that was just so fun to be in all those skits and stuff. And then we did something with our church in Maryland called Expressions of Joy, which just kind of was a creation of a lot of really talented people that came together and we would do different things. Like there was a theater component and dance and music and puppetry and just,
That
so I
sounds.
helped out with that. But
So you, that does sound fun. I did that when we was in high school with our church.
oh yeah,
Well, they had that Total Life Encounter thing.
oh yeah.
So I did the puppetry, the clowns, the skits. I never sang, which I've thought about taking singing lessons.
You could also do that.
Do what?
Take singing lessons.
At the art center?
We should look into that.
Yeah, because I don't know who does it. But you know why I never sang?
Why?
Pat Summit.
That is not what you did not mean, Pat Summit.
No,
Nope,
Nope.
you meant Pat Sutherland.
Pat Sutherland, not Pat Summit.
Yeah, Pat Summit because she recruited
Both
you for
intimidating.
basketball. Intimidating.
Both intimidating women.
Yeah, I didn't really.
Pat Sutherland's why I never sang.
I didn't really do the. I loved being in the musicals, but I don't think she loved my singing.
Well, you remember she had that rule that if you're going to try out for a musical, you had to do the audition. You had to audition
Right,
singing.
exactly.
So I auditioned for The Hobbit.
This is the one I was thinking about.
Right, and after my singing audition, she pulled me aside. I'd already been in class, and she pulled me aside. She said, "So that rule doesn't apply to you anymore. Don't ever audition singing for me again."
Don't do it.
And I'm like,
Okay.
so then I got really self-conscious, so now I don't sing. Well, I do karaoke, but they're all drunk, so it doesn't matter when you do karaoke. You don't have to be a good
doesn't
singer. No.
Just sing with joy.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. But that's why I never sang. Now my son sings.
Oh, does he?
My daughter's got a beautiful voice.
Because he never auditioned for Pat Sutherland.
He never
or
audi-
Pat Summit.
He never did. He was in choir in high school. He did a few things. My daughter's got a beautiful voice, but she was never into the performing arts. She was more sports oriented. So she's more tomboyish that way.
Roller derby.
She's a roller derby girl.
Yep.
Yeah, that was so fun watching her play for the first
Yeah.
time.
That was cool. That's what you were doing in September, right?
Right. I had went to Tacoma because my cousin was getting married, so I went up there and did his wedding, and then we went to a Mariners game the next day.
Oh, fun.
Oh, it's a beautiful. Safeco Field is so beautiful.
Wow.
If you ever do
Yeah,
travel
I haven't
west,
I've visited California, but I haven't been to Washington.
well, if you ever get out west, go to Seattle or to Washington, Oregon. Seattle and
Yeah.
Portland, great towns, but you can go to Bend, Oregon, which is in Central Oregon. Beautiful High Plains desert. It's beautiful there. I never got up to Leavenworth, which is it's not completely central, but it is on the eastern side of the Cascade Mountains. It's a little Bavarian type town. So I never got up there. It was like a 4-hour drive, and I just didn't feel like doing it. But Seattle was great. So anyways, I stayed there. We saw Mariners game, went down to Portland, hung out there with the kids for a little bit, and then got to watch my daughter skate roller derby. So
That's so fun. Yeah.
Have you ever been to a roller derby bout?
No.
Wow.
But watching our kids do what they're good at is fun.
It's fun. Well, and that's what I was telling Angela when Kaylee was first practicing, before she was a rostered skater. He and I were at one of her practices. This is well before I moved back. And she's coming around the track, and she has this look of determination on her face, which I hadn't seen since she played softball. And I'm like, she's hooked.
I'm going to be here a time or two more.
She's hooked.
Yeah.
But, yeah,
That's fun.
it was fun watching her. She wanted to,
Which came first, her being interested in it or you doing the announcing for it out
Me.
there? You.
Yeah, and that happened 17 years ago when I first got interested. It was our 10-year wedding anniversary. We went into Portland for our anniversary. I think it was a Wednesday night. And went to Jake's Seafood in downtown Portland, this iconic little seafood place, and had a nice meal. And I was looking at something to do after dinner. And Dante's, which is a bar down on 3rd and Burnside. I'm saying this like you know where all these places are.
And I'm nodding like I do too.
You're just going right along with it.
Oh, yeah.
It's down on 3rd and Burnside. At that time, there was a TV show, a reality TV show on called Rockstar Supernova. Dave Navarro had this TV show where rock stars was trying to make them become big. Well, one from Portland's name was Storm Large. The Dante's schedule that I looked at said that Storm Large was performing that night. And Rebecca and I had been following this Rockstar Supernova for a while, and we were a fan of Storm. So we're like, this is great. So we go down there, and it's dead. We go down there for dinner. It's dead. And there's some guys up there, these 3x5 cards, reading into a microphone, doing comedy of some sort.
With their 3x5 cards.
With their 3x5 cards.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there going, oh, my God, this is horrible. But maybe, once Storm comes out, it'll be better.
Yeah.
We got great seats. And then all of a sudden, these girls start walking in carrying these big tubs. And they're laying this tarp down. They're setting these tubs around. And they bring in this plastic kiddie pool. And they drop it. Look at because I thought the tubs included, sound equipment.
Yeah.
Thought this was the roadies.
Okay.
Right? So I look at the waitress. She come by. I said, what's going on here tonight? She said, the Portland Rose City Rollers is a roller derby team. They're doing a fundraiser here tonight. They're going to be Jello wrestling. And so you can pay $1 to watch these derby girls Jello wrestle. Oh, okay. So I, looked at the wife, and I thought she's probably not interested in watching
Right.
Jello wrestling. I said, we can go someplace. She said, I ain't going nowhere. You can go. I'm going to watch these girls Jello wrestle. Okay. So,
All right. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm thinking, I think it's time to go.
well, no.
Nope. She wanted to stay.
She wanted to stay. And so we stayed. And the next day I go to my office, and I'm like, Portland Rose City Rollers. And so this is before Facebook and all that. I Google them, find their website. I subscribe to their newsletter. So it's called the Jam Line. Still remember that. So I subscribe to their newsletter, and I start following them. And then all of a sudden they put out this call for a roller derby announcer.
Perfect.
But I'm like, I like talking on a microphone. So I emailed them.
I like to talk.
Right. And so that's how I got into it. And my daughter was a teenager at the time.
Did you have to audition for it?
I went and sat down like this at a bar and talked to this gal. Then they brought me in to meet Mike Chex, who was their head announcer. And then we sat down. It wasn't an audition per se, but we just sat down and watched the roller derby practice and just kind of talked through it.
Yeah.
My main gig at the time, I wasn't the lead announcer. My main gig was to read the advertisements and to do the raffle and to do intros and exits and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was my main
So
gig.
you could do that.
Right, until I learned more about roller derby, and so that's what I did. I did that for a year, and at the time, I didn't realize they were the #1 league in the world.
Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
That's cool.
And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. And then
That's fun.
one guy one day was an announcer out of Seattle, was talking to me, and I just figured it was just, I don't know. Not that I didn't know it was a big deal, I just didn't know it was a big
Right,
deal.
that it was that big of a deal. Yeah.
Right, and so he said, how'd you get this gig? So I tell him that story, and he says, you realize this is the largest league in the world, of the fastest growing sport in the world, and you're an announcer for them?
Yeah.
No, I didn't realize that.
Aww.
So it was pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah,
And
that's
then,
a fun story.
I did that for 1 year and retired,
You retired.
to use Emma's word,
Yep.
and got out of that. And then the divorce and all that took place, and I was looking for another outlet, something else to do. And lo and behold, in my Facebook page pops up one day, there's roller derby in Vancouver. There's a team starting up. So I contact them, and they're already talking to some people about being announcers. So I go down, they come on down, meet us. Well, I walk in to the skating rink, which is no longer there anymore. But I walk in there, and there's a micro bruiser from the Rose City Rollers.
Oh, people that you knew from the other team.
Yeah, they had left the Rose City Rollers and had come down to this smaller league to help get this league started. And, I mean, they were
Fun.
legends in roller derby. Well, they are legends in
Yeah.
roller derby. I know that now. I didn't when I first met them. And they're like, Lucky! So then the gal, Jabberjaw, that's her name, she comes up to me and she says, you got the gig. They know you. They vouch
know
for you.
Yep.
I'm like,
that is awesome.
Yeah.
You didn't have to sing for your audition.
No, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
a good thing.
Kaylee, how she got in though was
Yeah.
she told me she's looking at going back into softball. Mm-hmm. She needed a athletic venue as sport, and I said, "You were a fast pitch softball player. I don't think you're gonna find a fast pitch league here in the area. It's gonna be slow pitch, and you're gonna hate it. I'm not telling you not to go do it. I'm
Right.
just putting my dad prediction hat on."
My dad had us telling me.
Right. I said, just come to a roller derby practice. She's like, okay. So she went, and she was like, you can seriously get me
Yeah.
an audition or whatever,
Yeah.
a tryout. I said, yeah, I can get you a tryout. She couldn't skate. She could not skate. And that's the thing about roller derby. If you could go in there not knowing how to skate, if you will stick with them, they will stick with you, and they'll teach you everything you need to know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I loved it. But that's how I got into it. Let's see what we
Very
got going
cool.
on here. But they have a bout coming up. The last home bounce this weekend, and you're busy.
The one in Chattanooga?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
I
busy.
think I saw that. I think you shared that on Facebook, didn't you?
I did. I went and watched them play.
Yep. So you can go to that on Saturday. You can come to the play either Thursday or Friday.
Well, and
Gives
I
you
work
two
Thursday
options.
and Friday night. So I'm gonna come to the play. What time's the play?
7:30.
Okay. Just get tickets from you.
Yeah.
All right.
Come see me at the Art Center.
All right. I'll have to come by there and get them.
Yep.
For people who might listen, if I get this up before then, how much
I know.
are
I'm like,
tickets?
you're on a time crunch here, aren't you? Tickets are $15 for adults, $10 for students.
And there's
And
no bad
students are
seats.
anybody. Like college students count as students.
Like a life student? Would that
Like
count?
well, if you are
I'm a lifelong
in
learner.
a learning institution, it does not matter how old you are.
Okay.
Yeah, and it starts at 7:30, but at 7:10, live music starts. Beautiful singing.
Who's the live music?
There are several people that are singing.
You
and
don't
so,
know, is
Well,
that
no,
what
I
you
know.
said?
No, I actually do know, but I'm going to not say names in case I leave someone out. That would make me sad.
I almost left my aunt's name out of the obituary.
Yeah, don't do that. I never want to leave people out. So, but just trust me, it's beautiful music.
Are you singing?
I'm not one of the singers. So therefore I
Again,
can
it's
say
beautiful.
it's beautiful music. Yes.
Do the girls sing?
We do a lot of singing in the car and at home. There was a lot of singing musicals throughout the years.
Levi would do that. he'd sing musicals to me, show tunes.
Yeah, show tunes. That's what I meant.
And I mentioned it one time. They're like, I didn't know your son was gay. Because he likes theater and he likes show tunes? No.
Show tunes are just awesome.
They're just awesome. And he just loves them.
Yeah.
He just loves them. But I don't know. Hopefully he'll get back into it.
Yeah. I hope he does.
Yeah. But we all tend to circle back around.
We
You
do.
did.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done it in a really long time.
And you found your home.
Yeah. Feels.
I wonder if Craig's did anything like that.
I don't know.
Or at least art.
Yeah, because he did drawing, and did he do painting too?
He did draw. He did a lot of visual art.
Yeah, he did.
He did some sculptures, and I remember paintings. Because I took an art class with him my senior year, but
Yeah, I remember he did that too. I wish that we could have played that game because that could have been fun.
it could have been fun. It could have been fun. I've kept up with him. Well, most people I've kept up with has been through Facebook.
Right, which is a really fun way to keep track of people and
It
see how
is.
people are doing.
But you know what I hate is the notification that it's so-and-so's birthday today. Because then I feel like, oh gosh, I got to say something to him. And then if I don't,
That's one of my favorite parts of it.
is what?
Just birthdays. Birthdays on Facebook rock.
Well, and then I'm like,
It's fun because you get to think about those people and when you shared life together in real life, because that's what I think about a lot. I'm like, oh, I miss that person's face in real life.
well,
But
and
you
I do.
can think about the time that you did get to have with them.
But I feel like I go in there and say it's your birthday. I go in there and there's like 200 birthday
It's my
messages.
birthday today.
I thought I saw that. Is it your birthday? Look at this notification. I
It's
have
not.
6. I have 6 today.
It's not.
Now, I feel like if I go in there and say happy birthday to you, because you're at 200, oh, I'm lost in the mix. And
You're not. No.
I don't put my birthday on there because I don't want to reply to 200 people, and I feel obligated to reply to 200 people. And then inevitably, somebody like you that knows my birthday will come on there, and it knows I don't want my birthday on there. It's going to post some happy birthday and tag me in it. And
Tag you in it.
And then I'll usually get like 50 people in, but it's not as
I'm
bad.
not going to do it.
Yeah, you don't know my birthday. I'm going to die if you guess it.
Well, it is the 22nd of something, and it's either June
How in the world did you do that?
June 22nd.
Yeah.
Because I just remembered.
How did you do that? Well, I guess I lied. I didn't die.
You didn't die.
But I am shocked.
I don't know how I did that.
Huh.
I just did.
Sympathetic magic, I guess.
You talked about that on one of your
I'm bringing her back on.
podcasts. Are you?
Did you listen to her?
I did.
What'd you think?
It was good. Yeah.
She's one of my most, right now, she's the most downloaded one I got. She's got a huge network as far as being in the pagan world, in the druid world. Mm-hmm. She's got a huge network, but I'm bringing her back on because...
Oh, you know what? I didn't hear that one. I heard one where you mentioned that.
With Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, rewind.
Okay.
I will have to listen to that other one.
Yeah.
Because I did not hear that one. And
I think it's
the
episode
reason I
4.
remembered your birthday is it's the same as my sister's.
Well, now the truth comes
The
out.
truth comes out.
The reason I'm bringing her back on is Halloween would be, for lack of, well, not lack of a better word, is probably the right word, is a high holy day for
Oh, yeah.
for the
You told
druid
me
life.
that.
And so they're actually holding a ritual here in town here in a weekend. I forgot what it's called. She'll kill me, but it's a ritual. It's gonna be October 27th. It's gonna be down here at the park, and they're holding a druid ritual down there. And it's the ritual, when I looked it up, is to honor our ancestors. So the ancestry is really big in the Druid and pagan life. Those who's gone before, they want to bring honor and all that to them. So they're not going to be sacrificing goats and drinking human blood and putting virgins on the altar. I mean, it's not what everybody thinks about when they think of paganism or they think of the Druid life. But, yeah, if you get a chance to listen to that one, because a lot of the things that you and I grew up with has its history in Druidry.
Interesting.
You ever heard those old sayings like, ever how high the cobwebs are built tells you about the winter, or the woolly worms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The worms. I remember that one.
Yeah, that's all comes out of Druid life. And even like our Christmas tree.
I think I did know that.
Yeah, that comes out of that. And so I'm going to bring her back on to talk about that and Halloween and see where it goes.
I'll have to listen.
No, you don't have to. I'm not that interesting. I don't even know why you decided to do this.
I don't either. Had so many interesting stories to share.
So I did storytelling. What were you doing in forensics? Were you doing one acts?
We did some one acts. Didn't you do that too?
I
One
did a
acts,
few.
duets,
Yeah, I did some duets.
and then some solo ones too.
Yeah,
Did you do any of that?
I did more of that at Carson Newman.
Yeah, I did that.
Because my favorite was we went to Carson Newman the one time I ever got to Washington, D.C. Carson Newman took me up there to George Mason University to compete.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah,
fun.
we also lived just right outside of D.C. for a while. So
I saw some of those pictures.
that was cool.
I'd like to go back to D.C. I want to go to 8th and I, to the Marine Barracks there.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see that. I got a glimpse. I wasn't a Marine at the time, but I got a glimpse of them drilling.
Yeah, we did that one summer night. They did it at the Iwo Jima Memorial.
Did you ever see the silent drill team?
I don't think I did.
Oh, it's where they're doing their drills, right?
Right, but they're not.
spinning the rifles. There's
I'm
no
trying to
voice
remember
commands.
if they were with that one that we went to or not.
Yeah. So I want to go see that.
Yeah, you should definitely do that.
I need to. I've seen the Iwo Jima Memorial, but that was at Parris Island. So
Okay.
I've never. I think we drove by it in D.C.
It's right by Arlington Cemetery.
Right. I didn't get to go through there.
I think that you would find that. I think you would like being able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
have
don't really want to
agree
say enjoy, but it's just a powerful experience. I think you would like that.
Right, I do too. Although it was weird. I went down to what's this battlefield? Chickamauga.
Oh,
I had to leave. It was just
I
this,
bet it was hard.
well, it was just an eerie feeling.
Yeah.
You know, you walk in there and you know the history of this, and you know the sadness and the destruction that it brought to this area for so many years after the war, and all the things that resulted from it. I was like, I gotta get out of here. And I don't know. And I don't get. Maybe I do more that I'm getting older. Maybe I'm becoming more aware of woo-woo feelings. You know, maybe like
What is that?
woo-woo feelings is just when you start feeling like
Yeah.
negative energy, or I guess that's what I would have always
Yeah.
called it. Do you believe much in stuff like that? Not really. I do and I don't. I do believe, as people of faith, you have the divine you that I think is telling you and communicating with you and guiding you. I try to listen to that. It's like when somebody tells me, well, I carried this book around for about an hour and I was debating about whether or not to get to this person. Get the book. Give it to that person. Trust the true you.
Yeah.
But people don't.
Act on it.
Yeah,
Act on those promptings.
you should. And it's like yesterday there was somebody on my mind off and on all day. And finally I just broke down and I'm just going to message them.
Right. Like, reach out to them, text them, write them a letter in cursive.
I do write in cursive.
I know you do.
And
Because you did that project for your letters, didn't you?
which I do a lot.
Well, you do a lot of projects, but you had one project you were doing where you were, weren't you like picking people to write letters to?
Right. Yeah, I would write letters to different people.
See what random things we learn about people on Facebook?
We do, and you never know how much attention someone's paying.
Right.
And then they come up to you and they mention something to you, and you're like, "How'd you know about
How'd
that?"
you know? Oh, yeah.
Wow, I'm public.
Right.
It's amazing when
Which is
people don't
okay
write
to-
back.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, that's making me think about the fact that I got a really sweet letter from a friend recently, and I'm like, oh, I want to write her back. Mm-hmm. And I haven't yet.
Yep. Write her back.
Write her back.
Well, and I started using the dip pen. I
Oh,
wrote
like a calligraphy pen?
Yeah, like
Oh, yeah.
And the thing I liked about that ink is you can rub it. You can feel it. It's like it embosses.
Oh,
it dries
yeah. When it's
thicker.
dried, yeah.
I like that. And what I do, I meant to mention this earlier, when I ask if you saved your letters, I have an Evernote app. And so when I write a letter, I scan it with my Evernote app, and then I'll
Oh.
tag it. So like the letters I've written my kids, I can go in there and Levi, and there's all the letters I wrote Levi, Kaylee. Here's the letters I wrote Kaylee.
See, that's a good way to save it, and then you don't have papers that you're keeping up with.
I don't have papers I'm keeping
Right.
up with.
And you have them organized already.
Right, and they're already organized, and because I don't know if they're saving them. I don't know. And then when somebody writes me a letter, I do the same thing.
Right. Ah.
And that way I've got this correspondence. And if it's somebody, if there is a correspondence going back and forth between, say, you and I are writing letters back and forth, I try to keep those together. Well, you wrote me one of the sweetest letters when I was in the war. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I try to keep those. I wished I'd done it earlier. I started writing my kids. They were in high school, maybe middle school. And so what I do is I get note cards. Or I'd write a letter and I just leave it on their bed. So I started doing that.
Oh, yeah.
And then that just progressed.
Yeah.
Who do you write?
Well, I like to write friends from the different places where we've lived.
Yeah.
My dad used to write me a letter every week when I was at college.
Aw.
As we're talking about this, I'm like, I used to get letters from Dad at college. Yeah, he was always good about writing letters. My great-grandmother would send me letters. And
Well, that's back
so-
when we used to do it a lot.
Right, yeah, and I would write them more then. So now I'm all inspired to get back into letter writing.
I know. I went and had a bunch of stationery printed up. And I haven't used nearly any of it, but
Yeah, I have like a whole box of different kinds of note cards and stationery.
well, I thought about getting some note cards printed up too, because sometimes I just want to write a quick note and then send that out or give it to somebody. My kids do tell me they get the letters. They love getting the letters.
Everybody loves getting letters.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's something special that somebody's touched this and they've held on to it. And
Yeah.
even though I can have it digitally.
Yeah, but there's just something about it coming through the mail.
Right.
Had to think about it.
I had to think. Well, and that's the other thing
Takes
about
some effort.
writing a letter versus an email or a text. I can just bang that out and send
Right.
it.
Yeah.
It's impersonal somehow or another. But the letter's
But
very.
letter's very personal.
It is. And then I try to personalize the envelope. Like I'd there for a little bit. I'd do like a little watercolor flower on the bottom of the envelope. Then I tried my hand at making my own wax stamp.
Wow.
It worked, but it's not as maybe I should contact. There's a buddy of mine that's got a machine shop. Maybe I should just have him carve me out a crest.
My crest to stamp on the back of my envelopes. Do it.
Hey, I know I've taken
Yeah.
up a lot of your time.
This is fun, though.
Oh, I
Very
appreciate you
fun.
doing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll try to. Not going to try. I'm going to commit to being there Saturday. And
Sounds good.
we'll see how
I
it
think
goes.
you'll really enjoy it.
I think I will. Is it black tie?
It is not.
It is not. All right. Because I'll have to go buy a black tie.
No. This is not a black tie affair. Everyone is welcome at the theater. Come in what you're comfortable in.
Come on, what you're coming with.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen,
All right.
my friend Lauren Griffeth
Thanks.
Trew. 30 years and we're
30
talking finally.
years. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So yeah, we're back.
Oh, we came back?
Yeah.
We're back. We're back.
How do people find you?
Well, we're back because I had to take a picture of the day. That's what I call it. Like several years ago, I had a friend who encouraged me to do a project 365,
Yeah.
where you take a picture a day for a year, and you can post it on any kind of social media or anything. But she helped me. I just have a blog spot, just counting good gifts.
I think I've seen this.
Have you seen this? I usually post a link to it at
Didn't
the
you have
end of
another
each
blog?
month. And I used to have, it was called Reflections on 40 when I first
That
started
was it.
Well, I started it when I turned 40. And then I wanted to keep doing it because I just look for a gift each day. Like, what has God put in my path that I can be thankful for each day? And it really helps when you think about positive things and just focus on blessings in your life. And so I did it for a year and I loved it. So I kept doing it and I'm like, but I'm not 40 anymore. So then it was Reflections on 40
40s.
plus some years. And I did it for about 6 years. And then I was like, wow, that is a lot of pictures of the day. And I took a break and I missed it. I just missed just reflecting on God's goodness for each day. And so I started it back this year.
Okay, so
And so what I do, but I didn't want to go back to the one that I'd had before because then there's going to be like a gap.
yeah,
And I just.
but it's still live. Reflections on 40s.
Well, no.
40.
So it's called Counting Good Gifts.
Oh, that's
now.
called Counting Good Gifts now.
So now my new blog is called Counting Good Gifts.
So your writings from Reflections on 40, are they still on Counting?
They're there.
They're there. Okay.
And they're just pictures. Like I
Oh.
don't write.
Okay.
I just take a picture each day, and sometimes I'll write a little bit more about it if it was a story that I felt like I really wanted to elaborate on. But sometimes it's just a short caption.
Just a short caption, because the picture sometimes will tell its own story.
And they're mostly for me anyway to look back on.
So I
I don't
lose
have like a
them.
big giant following or anything like that. But I just love looking back on God's faithfulness. And so photography is the way I can do that.
That's one of the things I like. I like about one of the features Facebook has memories.
Yeah. And it's like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Some
your
of them aren't
memories.
good memories.
Nope, some of them aren't, and some of them are like, ooh.
I'm glad I'm
Yeah.
not there.
Yep. Glad that's in the rearview mirror. But,
Right, and some of them are good memories, but
Yeah.
also that's one of the things I like about journaling.
Yeah, I wish I was better at journaling.
I go in phases.
Yeah.
I have learned to keep my journals. I kept one for a long time, then just all the moves and stuff and throwing stuff
Yeah.
away. It got thrown away, but now I've committed to keeping them because I might get hit by a bus one day. Memento mori is that Latin phrase. You too will die is what it means. It's a Stoic philosophy, and so I try to live my life with that philosophy that this
Right.
could be it.
Well,
How do I
we
treat
never
somebody?
know. Yeah, how are you treating someone? How are you?
How am I living my
How are you
life?
living?
And so, and then my different reflections and stuff I put in those journals when I am in my journal writing phases. And then hopefully my kids will cherish them someday.
Yeah.
Just
I
like
bet
these
they
pictures.
would. Yeah, so it's just, anyway.
So do
Thanks
you
for
have
letting me come back on.
do you have a subject that you, besides blessings, are you doing like children? Are you doing nature? Or are you
it's
just doing
really
whatever?
just what really strikes me as just a good gift from God from that day. So, like, this was a good gift. It was fun. It was fun to chat with you. And
Well, a friend of mine's doing that.
Sometimes it's like a changing season. It's a
Right.
beautiful tree that you walk by, or
Well, a friend of mine does a similar practice. He doesn't do pictures, but he on social media he talks about something that he's thankful for.
Yeah.
2 or 3 times a day.
yeah,
He learned that through recovery.
really.
He was going through a recovery efforts. Well, I guess they say you're always going through it,
Right.
and so he does that. He's talking about how it's just really, really helped him deal with a lot of anxiety, helped him deal with a lot of anger issues. I was thinking about that anxiety thing the other day. Everybody's got it. It's just, have we been taught how to deal with it and
Right. How
manage
do we
it?
deal with it? Yeah. But gratitude really does make a difference. I can tell if I'm grumpy and complaining about things, everything kind of
I don't think I've ever known you to be grumpy.
Well, I am sometimes grumpy. But when I focus on gratitude and joy, it is a lot better.
It is.
Yeah.
Because, what was it? Zig Ziglar had that saying, stinking thinking,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He'd always say that.
It really matters what we're thinking about, so.
It does. And that's what somebody asked me, because I've come a long way. There was a period there where I was angry, I was depressed, had a lot going on. And then when I finally said, I got to quit this, and started doing more reading and my journaling and started focusing back on the things that I used to teach, the things that I used to know.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, let's start doing this stuff. Back to your point, being grateful, finding
grateful,
those thankful
yeah.
things to be thankful for. So they find that at Reflections.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the old one. Back when I was a young 40-year-old. Look, I have to look it up. I don't even know what it's really what it's called.
I own my own domain, and my family asked me, what's your website? It's
your website?
scottabridwell.com.
Seriously, it's my name. But mine is not my name. What
I
is
used to
mine?
own just Scott Bridwell, and then my mom would say, what's your email address? It's Scott at Scott Bridwell.
Scott, it's Scott Bidwell. It's countinggoodgifts.blogspot.com.
There you go.
Not really hard to-
countinggoodgifts.blogspot.com.
Anyway, it's just a fun way to keep track of all the good.
Now, a friend of mine did a similar project. She was one photo a day for 365 days. She was very reclusive type person, very much an introvert, and she had a very nice camera. I guess she's a photographer, but that's not her thing. I mean, it's not her job.
Right, yeah.
But this forced her to come out of her comfort zone, to go into
Right.
downtown Portland, to just walk up to a stranger.
I think, were you one of the people
I
that she
was.
did one time? Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
I remember you sharing about that, but.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she would write. She had like a series of questions.
Oh,
So
so
she would
like she
interview 'em.
wrote and interviewed him. Yeah, yeah. It's easy for me just to snap a picture, and sometimes I have my real camera out, but we've got our phones on us all the time.
And the
There's
cameras
a
are so
camera.
good.
Camera's good. Mm-hmm.
I know it. But that's what she did. She did that for a year.
That's a cool project too.
It was, and it's because this required her to go out, meet people, talk to them, interview them,
Right.
find out something about them, sit down and write it, and
No, I can just snap a picture.
yeah. But it's a cool project. I like finding things like that. People go out and find something that makes you
Find
happy.
something. Yeah, it does. It brings me a lot of joy.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So, all right.
Thanks for coming
Okay,
back
for real.
on.
Thanks.